is a lot of wrestling to cover tonight, and I wasn't going to bother with the pre-show, but there's a couple of points that well and truly triggered me, so I'm going to add those 3 matches in here too. Since we've got an entire 7 hours of action to cover, I'm going to borrow a technique from an old favourite in order to get me through it. Austin Aries and Neville put on a fantastic opening match to warm the crowd up and start the show off. Still pretty gutted they've been bumped to the pre-show though. Next, I was completely deflated when Mojo friggin' Rawley won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I have no idea at all why any of you idiots get behind him. Is it because I'm not drunk? Is that why I don't get it? He's like one of those kids I see in public and their owners really need to start reading that parental manual. You know, just any time would be a good time. And to end the pre-show, I'd like to send out a congratulations to the member of the Shield that the WWE obviously love the most. Dean Ambrose, you've been dropped to the pre-show and Reigns as the Undertaker this year, Rollins as Triple H. I suppose at least you retained your title tonight. Nobody really cared, you didn't seem that fussed. Not that I blame you, because I really don't see Triple H putting you over next year. And now we're on to the main show. We know we've started the main show because Tina She says America 82 times in a pitch only my cats can hear. Oh, it's midnight already. Get on with the show. We know why we're here. We don't need 10 minutes of promos. The host of WrestleMania, The New Day, come out first. They hype everyone up for the pay-per-view, and they look absolutely bloody amazing. Wasn't expecting AJ Styles and Shane McMahon to be the first match on. The open-air stadium does wonders for AJ's mop. But they have a rough, hard-hitting match, and neither of them hold anything back. Shano shows that he can work with anybody's style, and although he may not be one of the best wrestlers in the world, he certainly has a lot to offer. And he's been one of those bosses where if he can do it, you should be able to do it too. So I like that. Got a nice little ref bump, I didn't see that coming in the match, to which AJ takes advantage and grabs, I'm going to say a tin trash can, because they try and say it's the steel, but obviously not. And he sets up for his own coast to coast, but Shane wakes up and hits him with the tin can mid-air, and then hits his own coast to coast. Then he fails to capitalise by trying to put AJ through the announce table, as Styles rolls out the way, and Shane just splats himself. Shane tries to hit a shooting star press, to which AJ's just too quick, gets out of the way, hits him with a phenomenal forearm, and Styles gets his hand raised. Shock again as Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens match is second on. I thought that would be much higher on the card, especially considering, in my opinion, it's been one of the feuds of the year, and WrestleMania is supposed to be an amalgamation of everybody's work throughout the year, and this has been something that me and a lot of other people have been tuning in for week in, week out on Raw, so I feel it's a bit of a shame they've not been given a bigger spotlight. Well, he hasn't got a big spotlight, but look at the size of that list of Jericho, that's fantastic. And his light bright scarf, brilliant. Continuously reinventing himself, even if it's just something slight. I love it. They put on a great solid match, the crowd were very heavily involved. Chris Jericho shocked Kevin Owens by kicking out the pop-up powerbomb, which very few people have done yet, if anybody has at all. But then a second one to the ring apron was just a bit too much for Chris Jericho, and we've got a new United States champion. Oh, hell's bells, payback promo. Oh, we haven't even finished watching this 20-hour advert yet, and you're promoting the next pay-per-view. Behave. WWE, you absolute set of monsters. Bayley is the champ. Why is she coming out first when you give Charlotte that entrance last? And then, I don't care anymore. Nia gets triple teamed very early on and eliminated. And I just, now, yep, I couldn't care less who wins this. I regret having gone for a piss during the build-up. I should have gone during the match. An exposed turnbuckle allows Charlotte to knock Sasha out. And then we're back to yet another one-on-one match between Bayley and Charlotte. Fantastic. We see all 5 of their greatest hits and, oh, well done. We've changed the ending a little bit. Bayley finishes Charlotte with a match on an elbow off the top. We take a look back at the Hall of Fame from Friday night with Kurt Angle giving his acceptance speech and dousing himself in milk. And then, oh God's sake, we've got an advert for WrestleMania 34 now, next year's. We've not even got halfway through this one yet. So now we get on to my favourite part of the show, which is obviously Big Kaz counting. Yay, I feel my brain shrivelling up and dying inside. I really am not going to enjoy when they give the belts to these two. But oh, wait, the New Day are out. And they say there's a 4th team. And I feel like they're trying to lure me to think that they're going to be the 4th team. But the Hardy Boys have returned. After they easily get the ovation of the night, the Hardy Boys jump back into the mix. Jeff jumps off one ladder, he takes out Cesaro through ladders on the outside, and Matt grabs the belts, and the Hardys have returned and won the titles. Happy days. We then get the usual advert for the WWE Network, featuring the special guest. Yep, obviously next year's WrestleMania. Keep at it, lads. Well, I've got very little positive to say about this next match between The Miz and Maryse and John Cena and Fake Tits Bella. The Miz and Maryse have been great on Smackdown lately, all of the stuff has been really entertaining. Cena's not been overly bad with the hand that has been dealt, but Bella's just, the whole goddamn match was just a build-up to a proposal, a public fucking proposal between these two, and I need my sick bucket. That's just one of the most disgusting things I've seen. How self-serving and egocentric can you be to need this kind of attention? Ugh, they're the same, if not worse than those couples on the internet that just rub in everybody's faces how much they apparently love each other, yet really they're just trying to convince themselves. Keep rolling, 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 what? Keep rolling, 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 what? Pretty sure that's somebody else's gimmick there. Triple H makes loads of noise coming down the ramp and nobody pays him any attention while he goes around the ring, so he just sits at the bottom looking up the ramp and gives it the old and hopes that people pay him attention. Because that's all this really comes down to every year now when he comes out. Just a fancy entrance in a bog standard match. And when Seth Rollins comes down to the ring, he has a flamethrower, which for some reason in a non-sanctioned match he chooses not to use. And you wonder why people didn't give you any sympathy before? And he continues that with just using his bad leg for everything, jumping off of everything and landing on his bad leg, using his bad leg to knee him in the face, just telling the old story of faces are stupid. And then to add to matters, Seth Rollins looks under the ring, and he finds Sledgy, and just pretty much passes it to Triple H. Triple H doesn't get a chance to use it, it ended up just being a decoy to draw attention away from the table that was set up earlier on the outside. Steph gets involved a few times. She's nudged gently off the apron and goes through the table. Yeah, fair enough, she went through that table, but that was a very, very gentle tap. This causes an infuriated Triple H to turn around, and he gets drilled with a pedigree. We then go to the intentional mood killer / time filler spot, featuring Pitbull and Co, so everyone can go for a piss and get a drink. And then we move on to Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. And during the match, the ring's plagued with imagery of giant creepy crawlies in the ring, which is supposed to distract Randy, but it doesn't work in the end. Even though he managed to control the majority of the match, Orton hits an RKO, and that's all it took. What was the point in that? Orton wasn't strong enough to beat Wyatt before, so he joined him, he tried to weaken him, but he accidentally made him stronger, according to their storytelling. And then that didn't backfire at all, because again, one RKO was all it took. Well, this was better than expected. We now see the third match between Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg, and they just ran at each other. Both of them had 5 special moves already stored. They just went straight at it from the start. It was about 5 minutes of madness. We saw 5 spears, 10 Germans, and then Brock finished Goldberg with an F5. It was so much better than before. It's just a shame it's taken them 13 years to give us the match they should have done in the first place. Fantastic. People complain that the Smackdown Women's Championship had been put on the pre-show, so what have the WWE done? Yeah, nice one. Spitefully, it's been moved to the fucking piss break slot. Good stuff. Divas Revolution. Go, go, go. So, Naomi's got a belt back now. This is when she should have won it, in my opinion, not during Black History Month. It just felt very forced and plastic at the time. This is her hometown. This should have been it. So you've got the strap on her now. Turn her back to being a heel where she's come out in a little hoodie, you know, without the go-go girl entrance. Chuck her in a faction with the Usos and Roman Reigns, and just let her wrestle. She's learnt a lot in the last few years. She's going to get better as well. We're then treated to another appearance from the New Day, who'll come out to announce the attendance record. They didn't set the names on fire, nor did they absolutely bury anybody in 6 seconds flat, so they've bettered the Rock's efforts from last year at least. And we now go to the main event, Undertaker versus Roman Reigns, and Jim Ross is on commentary, so I'm quite sure this is going to be the end for the Undertaker. As expected, the crowd are absolutely all over Roman Reigns, to which the commentary team have already got preloaded answers to spew at us, and they line up to rim Roman Reigns in his unbelievable strength. Before the match starts, it's announced that it's a no disqualifications and falls count anywhere match, you know, just because. And there's nothing really special in the match itself work-wise. It was the storytelling that said something, really. And it all started to come together when Reigns kicked out of a chokeslam onto a chair and a tombstone. Undertaker couldn't put him away, and then Reigns just had the advantage for the last 10 minutes or so, hitting him with spear after Superman punch after Superman punch. Couldn't keep the Undertaker down. They both looked absolutely exhausted. It was horrid. It went on for way too long. So after 10 spears, we finally see the Undertaker stay down and get pinned, to which the crowd are really not impressed. Roman quickly vanishes and leaves the ring to the Undertaker, who takes off his hat, his coat and his gloves, slowly heads back to the ramp and descends below. What a fantastic career. I personally feel that he should have finished it a little sooner. If he was going to finish undefeated, the end of the era match with Shawn Michaels refereeing against Triple H would have been perfect. If he was going to retire once his streak had been broken, after the loss to Brock Lesnar, would have been perfect too. His last few years, I've not enjoyed his work, and I just wish that I'd hang up his hat, because it saddens somebody that used to be a fan to see how he moves about and works now. It didn't look fun. See, a lot of people are going to overlook this now with Roman Reigns, but I actually feel quite bad for the fella. He was just forced to drag old Yeller into the middle of town and put him out of his misery, and we all just paid to watch it. Now, people will focus on the fact that Roman shouldn't have been the one to beat The Undertaker in the confines of a storyline, but looking at it from simply 2 blokes at work, was Roman Reigns experienced enough to be able to deal with that situation? It looked to me like The Undertaker was telling him to hit him with another spear because he wasn't happy with the last one that he was hit with. And if he was going to go out on his back, he wanted to make it look believable. If The Undertaker's final match had been against, say, John Cena, I believe Cena would have been able to gauge that a lot better than Roman. Roman looked very frustrated in his face, and I'm quite sure he was confused about what was going on at some points. So yeah, there we have it. 7 hours later, I've tried to compact that as much as I can. It wasn't a perfect WrestleMania, but it certainly wasn't one of the worst. Last year's was terrible, it meant nothing. This year's meant something, so I'm happy for that at least. The Hardy Boys were the biggest pop of the night, and the highlight for me as well. And we've now got Raw tomorrow night to look forward to see how they're going to mix things up. And that's enough out of me for the time being. If you'd like to ask me questions or leave me abuse, I can be found on Twitter @BluntDamage. If you'd like to comment on the video, you can follow the link in the description to the Botchamania site and do so there. And while you're on the site, you can check out 10 quality years of Botchamania, obviously, the entire backlog of my Raw rant, going all the way back to my written work, / walls of text, Vinny's midweek wrestling write-ups, and a shit ton more great stuff on the site to keep you busy. And last but not least, if you like my theme music, the band are The Colour Fire, and they can be found at www.thecolourfire.com, and their digital store links can be found in my description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.